What's up, Snitches? Welcome back to another episode of We Want Gossip with Meredith and Steph. We are back this week to talk about Bachelorette Part 1 to the finale. I've got plenty to say.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to let that rip. And then what do we have for Gossip of the Week?
So for Gossip of the Week, we're going to quickly touch on the Venice Film Festival, specifically all the Miss Flo drama. Then we're going to quickly touch on Ray J and Kim. And then we're going to finish it off with the Emmys. Let's get into it. Well, where do we even begin with?
Meredith just recently got a fill, and we've talked about our issues with going to the nail salon, and I think we've been over that before.
Yes, we did in between the two episodes that got deleted. The first one that we filmed was, remember, I had my nubs. I took my acrylics off. I didn't have them for like a month. That's how long. Like, we didn't film, guys. Like, I had them off for a month.
She was rashy girl. She had no nails. You don't want to see her feet.
No.
No, we were still actually getting pedicures.
No, we were getting pedicures. I said, I don't care if my face isn't going anywhere. Yes. There will be a pedicure
Which,
on my
if
feet.
you guys missed it, I also think we talked about this before, too, but that I recently am on the pedicure game. I had never gotten them before in the past few months. It has been a game changer.
A breeze.
It's honestly an addiction.
And it's just like, they look so much better.
So
it's
much
night
better.
and day.
You never have to be like, oh, my toes don't look good enough to wear those like sandals.
Right.
Like I have to wear tennis shoes all the time, or you're quickly rushing out the door in a dress, like trying to throw some polish on.
Right.
And it looks like shit.
Yes.
I'm like, this is just, you don't have to worry about it. Soft as a baby's bottom.
Absolutely.
But anyways, Mary had it. She's been having some difficulties butting heads with her nail lady.
We're fighting.
And I hope she's watching, because I'm gonna write a nasty review.
Okay, so Hang, I have literally been going to Hang since I moved out to Colorado and got nails. Like, I found her right when I moved out here since the beginning of these puppies, and it's all been good. I mean, she's never been warm and fuzzy. Like, believe me.
Right.
She, like, barely speaks to me, but, like, once in
you
a
always
while,
got along.
I got a friendly vibe for the most
part. I stopped going to her nail salon because I saw a different girl, and I would leave every time we'd go together. Like, she's seeing Hang, I'm seeing this other lady. I would leave every time being like, she hates me, like, for no reason. I'm just like, I'm getting bitched out every time I come in here, so I'm gonna go to a different place. But Mary never really had any, like, issues to write home about. All of a sudden, recently, Meredith is on this lady's shit list, and it's like, you have been a loyal customer. You did well. You were in there all the time. You brought me in. You bring your mom in. You bring so many people in.
Exactly.
There was no problem before, and all of a sudden, it kicked it off with her, like, mocking you and laughing in your face. Like,
she was, like, so, like, yeah, what she's talking about was, like, the last time I went, they double booked me and her other customer. And, like, she was super stressed and pissed about that, which is fine. But, like, when I walked in, just like normal, I'm like, hey, Hang. She, like, looks right at me and ignores me, but I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I go and set my stuff down, and we're this close. And she had just gotten back from Cancun. And I go, hey, Hang, how was Mexico? Ignores me. And I'm like, all right, screw me then.
Yeah.
So then I'm sitting down, and, excuse, a little parched. And I'm like reaching into my hands carrying here. I'm reaching into my purse like this to get my card, and the light turns off. And it's like, okay, I didn't see it. And she like hits the table and is like, hey. And then she's like, the amount of time I have to wait. And it's like, okay, it's been literally 2 seconds. Whatever. I just have to re-put my hand in.
Just tell me, put it back in. Not a big deal.
And it was like the slapping of her hand on the table and like the snapping at me. And I'm like, okay, whatever. And then it was the mocking. She looks at me and she's like, ha, 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 ha. Like, literally rolls her eyes at me.
She told me that. It literally, the fire it ignites in me, where I was going to prank call her.
I'm just like, what?
I'm TP in the store. I'm like, I don't know, but it's honestly bullshit. And then this past time, she was giving me a real hard time.
Absolutely, because it's like,
she didn't want to design until next time. Oh, God forbid, Meredith said. You asked. Like, she literally was like, disgusted with you.
Oh, like,
shocked.
Doesn't even look at me. And she's like, do you want to design? And I'm like, no. And then her eyes like, and she just freezes. and then keeps
Like,
going.
what?
And like I had broken some nails because I haven't gone and gotten a fill in a minute, and I knew she was gonna bitch me out about it. Which it's like I was saying this to Brett, and he's like doesn't understand. He's like,
Adam doesn't either.
No.
He's like, why are you?
He's like, why are you getting yelled at by your nail lady? I go, I don't know. But this is something we all go through,
and that makes me like I've left more often than not in tears.
Yes,
after leaving because I'm getting reprimanded for things that I'm like, I'm paying you to do this. Like, I know you have to fix this nail, but I'll pay for the extra nail. Like, my God.
And it's also, like, not the end of the world.
And if you don't get what they're offering you, like, what they're like, do you want the design? And if you don't, it's your nails. Like, why are you that mad?
Literally.
And what changed?
I don't know. Like, I literally...
Oh, but God forbid, because if I'm like, Mary, you need to pull a fast one on her and see the lady next to her next time.
The pros about this place is, like, it's a great salon. Mm-hmm. The prices are awesome. It's got, like, it's really nice. So I like the salon. It's really close to my house. So it's like, I really don't want to leave the salon because it's like...
Once you find a person, you hope that it's like... You like to find
we're
your nail
soulmates for life. Like, my girl Miley back in Michigan. Yeah. Miley... an angel sent from heaven.
Yeah.
That lady is an angel. So I go, I don't even want to hear it hang. I don't. And she yesterday was so mad at me when she saw my broken nail. She's like holding my fingers like this. And she's like, and just staring at me. And I go, yeah. I'm like, I know. I broke a few. I'm like, I was traveling.
What? I just don't
Staring at me. No response. I go, yeah, I know. Doesn't respond. I'm like, okay, I'm sorry.
But God forbid if you came in there and you saw somebody else to do your nails and not her, she would freak out. It's like, but what have you done to make me want to come back and see you again? Because I hate my life. We have to sit there for a full hour. It's like, I better enjoy who's doing it to me. We don't have to talk, but don't be rude.
Absolutely. And the girl that sits right next to her is an angel. And also the girl that always answers the phone is so sweet to me. And like, I've had a dude that was super nice, who my mom has is super nice. And I'm like, somehow we ended up with the two meanest people at that salon.
And I'm sorry, but if there's one thing me and you need, it's warm and fuzzy.
Absolutely.
I need warm and fuzzy people. Otherwise because I'm already dreading having to do any other task that's like an errand, getting my hair done. Like, it's just like an extra task. You dread doing it. So I at least would like to enjoy who's doing it too. Like, enjoy the experience. And also, you're paying how much money every single month for this. I shouldn't be hating my life.
Absolutely. And it's just like you said, like, this is a task I already dread. Like, it's so funny because it's like, literally, like, Brett, sweetest man, love you to death, babe. Not getting that, like, nails is literally like pulling teeth. And he's like, how about, like, it's like Saturday. All I want to do is, like, it's raining outside. It's so, like, cold out. All I want to do is, like, how about surprise? I'm going to take you to get your nails done with hang. I go, I love you for thinking like getting my nails done is like a pampering moment. It's a torture chamber. I'm like, I want to leave so bad.
It's literally a forced task, like duty I have to commit to. Like,
and that's why I put it off till the absolute last second. So it's like, I already don't want to go. And then I have Hang, who hates my guts for being alive. Like, literally, I think we said 2 words last time. So now I think I'm on the mission. I think it's officially come to the breaking point where I need to find a new place.
And I'm thinking it's the lady that's right next to her.
I think, you know...
I don't care if she's uncomfortable. And she bitches you out. She bitches you out either way, so you might as well make a point.
That's true.
Or just being spiteful. Like
for real.
I'm bitter.
Absolutely. And it's like, I will take that warm and fuzzy girl over you any day. And the only reason I've stuck out this long is because Hang knows what's up. I will say, she literally does my nails so good, so fast.
But so do a million other people that can do it.
You're right,
so.
That's right. Because, well, when I was talking to my mom about it, she was like, at first on our side, like, you need to, like, leave. And then she was like, well, she doesn't need to be your best friend. And she's like...
But I also don't need to feel like I'm in trouble and, like, I'm doing something. No, it's different. I'm being treated poorly. And
it's like, oh my God, it's not like I'm ripping these off on purpose. And it's one thing if
she just didn't talk to you during it. Whatever, I'd rather just sit in silence. I want to sit in silence, but at least don't be disgusted with me. Yeah. Like, I'm still a human. I'm still a customer. I'm still paying for this. I should enjoy my experience.
Yep. So, anyways, we're going to Steph's salon next time, and she's going to do my French tip. Yep. Thanks.
All right, so let's jump into the Bachelorette Finale Part 1. Rachel seemed pretty off the entire, like, after the final rose kind of thing?
It was like the live finale.
The live finale. She's you can tell, done with this entire process, the show, everybody. She is not pleased, I think, is the biggest understatement of the year.
Yeah, and it's like Rachel does not hide her emotions at all.
You could read her wheels were turning.
And it's so funny because when I first saw her like that, like, once again, Tyler, how do you not know? You're this close to her and you can't read her energy. I can read it through a screen.
Totally.
Like, at first, when she was, like, off, I thought it was about Zach. You know, like, she was like, oh, I'm, like, sad about Zach. I have to talk to him. But then she was really happy to see Zach.
That was the only time I saw the spark of like joy in her face remotely the entire time was when she was talking to Zach.
It was every time she was talking to Jesse or like, are you ready to talk to Avon?
I guess she was literally like, I guess I have to be. Like, she wanted nothing more than to leave that place. She was not giving them an iota of like showmanship. Like,
well, and I feel like, I mean, we don't know. We no spoilers this season we haven't seen. Right. So it's like, I feel like she just didn't end up with anybody.
Yeah, and I think
the show always hoes the lead, but the person you get at the end makes the hoeing worth it, you know?
Yes.
It's like, so that's why Gabby's smiling. I think she's with Eric.
Right.
I think her and Eric are together, and so this whole thing was worth it because she has Eric.
Right.
I don't think Rachel has Tino. Clearly she doesn't have Avon or Zach.
Right. And it's like, she, since the beginning, is like, in her mind, she has to be picture perfect. Everything has to go exactly the way she needs it to go. In her plan, her vision, you know, like, I think she just puts herself on such a high pedestal that it's like, you know, now I feel like it definitely didn't work out. She's let down. And it's like, because she definitely had such high expectations, which are fine, but it definitely bit her in the ass because when we get to Avon, you know, it's like, she just wants a proposal at the end. She wants to be engaged. That's really it.
Right.
But it's like, that was kind of the downfall of it because it's not even just about your connection. Because you can leave the show not engaged. And I think that's honestly the smartest thing to do.
Absolutely.
Like, Avon, so let's go to Avon because Avon goes to meet her family and, you know, everything's going super well. She's so excited. She's like, I think it's going to be him. We're on the same page. She's telling her best friends, her mom and dad, like, you know, we're on the same page of we're going to get engaged after this, or like, he's ready for it. We've totally talked this through in depth. Which at length, she says. And then for her to find out after her friends talk to Avon of like that he's not ready to propose to you at the end of this journey. He's ready for engagement, but not necessarily in 2 days, and a few days at the end of this. And that was, you know, shocking. And I get both points here.
Yes. Because Avon was confusing. He was confusing with his words. Like, and also it's like, that is the problem with fantasy suites. When he said he got caught up, yeah, dude, that's why Clayton got caught up with Gabby and Rachel and Susie. It's like, you're so connected and you got all this one-on-one time. You were caught up and you were saying yes, and then you sit back and you think about it realistically, and he's a very logical person where it's like, that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense at the end of this.
He's going in circles around his words because he's trying to please everybody but also stay true to himself.
Yes.
Where it's like, he's saying, and I understand her confusion and why she's mad because she was stupid in front of, because he can't even clarify in his own mind necessarily like how to portray this to her without hurting her feelings, but also that he doesn't think it should hurt her feelings necessarily. She just feels caught off guard.
It was for me the 100%. Like, because he was always saying like, I'm 100% ready to be engaged at this time in my life. She's like, but that's not what you told my family. He's like, but that's not what I want for me and you. He's like, I see us together. He kept saying like 100%, like, I'm ready to be engaged.
But then would go back.
Like, because what he means is I'm ready to be engaged at this time in my life. I'm 26. I'm ready to be engaged.
Totally. Like, that doesn't scare me to get engaged. I just want to do it the right way, in the logical way that makes the most sense for this to work out the way that we would want it to.
Absolutely.
And I think that is honestly not a bad thing. I just think it should have been talked about beforehand, because I can see how she's totally being like, you told, that's not how I was. He wasn't clear enough.
Yeah, and also I can't even imagine being in their position about something like that, because it's like, if I say the wrong thing like Avon did, I'm done now.
Yeah, because all Rachel wants is to be engaged at the end of this.
But that is a problem that like the Bachelorette especially gets too caught up with. Like Gabby last night, what did she said? Word for word, I came into this with no expectations.
Yeah, Rachel
came in with many.
And that's what's kind of a self-sabotage at the same time a little bit. Right. Of like, you're so stuck on this vision, but not looking at the reality in front of you.
Like Katie did with Greg.
And that it can be different than what you thought. You know, it's like, when you're younger, you think, oh, I'm going to be married and having kids by 22. And it's like, well, maybe that's just not how life works out. Or you thought you were going to marry your like, middle school crush, you know, at the time. And it's like, life is going to throw curveballs at you. And it's like, the more you try to plan it, I think the more that it's going to go wrong. Totally. You know, the more control you're trying to have on it, where it's like,
absolutely, the control is the issue, because it's like with Katie Thurston's season, where it's like she didn't want to say the word love until the end, and then Greg is standing in front of her saying, tell me something, and she won't say it because she has this idea that she has to say it at that final moment.
Right.
Like Rachel does. Like, she has to be engaged, where it's like, and also it's just like looking at Aven and Tino, and I'm not saying like Tino's toxic. I really don't think that's how he is. But there have been so many red flags with him throughout the season that I have noticed. Little things he's said, things here and there, like him getting upset with her in Brussels or Bruges or whatever, where I'm just like, I don't know with Tino. You know, where it's like, you should have looked at Aven and been like, this is more my person than Tino. And just because Tino's ready to get down on one knee, which I don't even know if he is based on the previews. What is even happening?
And it's like, because now it's kind of like also too, where I'm like, did you even actually, as much as you think at length you had that conversation, did you actually have it at length now with Tino? Where I'm like, you thought you and Aven were this whole thing. It's like, clearly you haven't maybe...
Which also, that surprised me too by her saying she thought it was Aven. Because I'm like, you told Tino you loved him. So how did you think it was Aven?
Yeah, and also to where I'm like, that if she does end up with Tino, it's like, that's always awkward, where it's like, oh, so you literally thought it was going to be him and then he left.
Absolutely.
You know, where I'm kind of like, sometimes maybe keep that to yourself.
Absolutely. I hate when they say that.
I know.
Like, I thought it was him. It's like, but it's not him. And now that other person's watching being like, I thought it was him this entire time.
Oh, and I felt for both of them. They could not, and like, he was getting frustrated too with like, they were both...
She made him repeat himself 1,000 times. Like, the circles were just endless.
Right. And then like, she would kind of twist what he was saying to like her own, like, she hears one thing from him and she's down a whole other path with it of like, I don't think trying to, you know, be like, gaslighting him or like twisting it around, but just like in her mind, genuinely, she's like, oh, so you just haven't, like, you've been lying then. And he's like, I'm not lying. I just don't know how to say this the right way. Like, because I understand both of them, why they're both
absolutely
upset.
And this is just a really quick relationship tip, because it's like, when I was watching that happen, like, Rachel was not listening at all. Like, she was, and I don't think she was doing it on purpose. I genuinely think she wasn't listening. And this is a tip that I've learned, that when you and your boyfriend or girlfriend or whatever are butting heads and you just can't see like why that person, ask the other person to tell you why you're upset.
Yeah.
Because 99% of the time, they're not hearing the root cause of what is actually bothering you. They're just hearing this.
Right.
Like, that's what Rachel was doing. It's like, he was trying to say, I want to still be with you. I'm in love with you. I just don't want to ruin a moment for us. Like, I still want to go. And she's like, so you don't love me? Like, you don't want to keep going? And he's like, no, it's not what I'm saying.
I know. Like, what was the other thing where she's like he would try to explain himself and she's like, but do you even understand, like, from, like, how that makes me feel, like, or it just kept going back to, like, how embarrassing that was for me. Do you even understand that? He's like, I understand that. Like, but we've moved past that. It's like, everybody just wanted to be heard and understood, but it's like, Rachel, okay, he clearly knows that upset you, and he knows that was wrong, like, how misleading and embarrassing that was for you to think so confidently and then hear it different based off your friend's conversation with him. But, like, at the same time, it's like, okay, we're past how that, I know that was, like, an ego dump on you for a minute there, but, like...
Yeah.
What are we going to do to solve it? We can't keep going back to that. But you don't even understand how I'm feeling. I think he does. It was just like both people weren't communicating right, where I'm like, I would love to interject into this middle of this real quick. Like,
I did feel for Rachel, especially like that would be a total blind side.
For sure.
I just don't think that was like necessarily grounds for ending it completely.
I don't think so
I think she was so caught up in the emotion of it all and like was like, whatever.
Yeah. Which also, you know what? If it also goes down to maybe she just has like her non-negotiables, or, you know, and that's, I'm going to be engaged at the end of this. Whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, like, she stuck to her non-negotiables.
Like, and like, I think about us. We're the same age as Rachel. And it's like, we've been dating our boyfriends for years and we're like, chill.
I'm good. Like, yeah, I would love to be engaged and we think about it all the time and we talk about it all the time. But it's like, the last thing I would do is make him, like, we're not in a rush. It'll happen.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I just don't understand. It's just got to be the show. Because I'm like, it's not realistic whatsoever.
Because even Aven's like, I would just like to see what it's like to, you know, spend a week with you where you live. You come hang out with me. Like, we meet, like, our day-to-days, see how we work together, you know, of like, and then it'll feel more special. Like, instead of just being like, in 2 days, I got to do this just because you want it checked off your list. Like, he's absolutely logical about it. I just think it's the way I understand how he was misleading.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely.
But also, how is he supposed to tell the truth? Yeah. Because that truth he would have gotten sent home. Like,
yeah. So. That right there is just, it wasn't meant to be.
Yeah.
Okay, now let's move on.
Oh, wait. Sorry.
Oh, no, you're good.
I was gonna say also, I thought it was so funny though when before Avon met her like family and friends, how she goes, he's so pretty. What did she say? It hurts your feelings.
Yes, it hurts your feelings.
Because it's so funny. Like when you see like a gorgeous person, where I'm like, no, pretty doesn't like
it's
handsome,
like Gal Gadot. Yeah, where I go, you
beautiful doesn't
aren't
even
real.
do it. It's like there's just no words. It's doing you injustice by calling you beautiful. Like you're so much more than that.
Absolutely,
it's like it makes you feel dumb.
Also, can we really quickly talk about Avon's pearl choker he wore on the live finale? Because I
didn't even notice who that was.
Because she goes like your necklace, and I was like, after she said that, I go, well, let me see this necklace, and I'm thinking it's gonna be like a chain. It's a pearl choker.
Huh.
I go, interesting choice.
Dainty and classy man.
A pearl choker.
I was like,
it almost was giving me puka shell vibes. I was like,
shell.
Sir, did you just get back from your family's vacay?
Was he on Paradise?
Ooh.
The puka shell could have been a cool little nugget.
Yeah.
Easter egg.
I want him or I don't really know about Zach. I heard from Zachary Realities, but he didn't know for sure. But that's what he was saying was that Justin is going to be the new Bachelor. You see that? Mm-hmm. I really hope that's not the case. I would rather it be Avon or Zach.
I want it Avon or Zach all the way. Absolutely. Like, oh my God, what do you mean? What was his name again?
Justin.
He
was the one that made it to like the final four, and like he was like nice a Tyler.
Guy. Yeah.
Made it all the way to the end, and it's like, who are you? Anyways,
I'm good there.
Me as well.
Okay, next up.
Tino. I have so much to unpack about Tino. I have been unpacking him for the weeks that were deleted. Like, I can't get over his ass. Like, I was constantly saying from the get-go.
Yes, from the beginning.
From the get-go that I feel like he was campaigning to be Bachelor. Yeah. Like, he views this as a game, as a competition. He's like, yes. I went out there, I performed literally top 10. Right. I'm the best there ever was.
What do you mean I didn't get the group rose? I nailed this, and this. I checked off every box that you have to do on a group date to get the rose.
And then you see Zach, and he's like, I'm just so happy I was able to spend a moment with Rachel. And I'm like, and Tino's like, I went out there and kicked ass.
Yeah, like, for real.
Chill out. So the first thing I want to talk about is the craziest comment I heard of this entire episode, that Tino, during Rachel's hometown, when she went back to go meet his family, that when he sat down to talk with his dad, they only discussed sports. That's why we never saw it. Remember, we were like, why aren't we seeing Tino with his dad, Tino with his mom? Oh, you want to know why? Is because they freaking shot the shit about sports and who's coming up on the fantasy football league.
Because her dad, Rachel's dad finds out that he, his parents didn't like her at the hometown. And so he's asking him, like, so do you bring many girls home? Is that the problem? Is it more the show situation? Is it Rachel? Like, because that can make a factor, because he's also thinking, like, my daughter's perfect. I'm confused with why they don't like her. But honestly, I'd be like, what the fuck is your problem? Like, you met her one time and there's nothing right off the bat that you shouldn't like about her. Like, if she's a good person, it's like, why you being assholes? Like, literally. And they were, like, rude.
And that's my problem is, so when you talk to your son that signed himself up for this show, when you talk to him about his engagement, his girl, you don't want to ask one question. You want to sit there when you haven't seen your son for months and you want to not talk about the girl in the entire production that is in your living room, and you want to talk to your son about sports and not about his future wife.
That's alarming, and that just shows like where maybe also like he's learned his communication. Like, I hope he's better about it, even with his future kids, because I'm just kind of like, the alarm bells are ringing.
So what I'm hearing is you talked to your son about sports and then went over to the girl you've never met.
Didn't even care to ask questions about prior, like even trying to understand. If you hate this process so much, I understand it's different for their generation and it's weird for everybody. Like, it's not the normal cadence, but it's also like you said, your son signed up for it. You didn't even want to try to understand, even if at the end of understanding you don't fully agree with it, agree to disagree, but you don't even try to understand. You went in there. Let's not even talk about it with your son, because you don't even take it seriously and we don't need to talk about it, because I'm just going to rip this girl a new one, make her feel like shit, and send her on her way.
And also, like, not only did he just, like, grill her with questions, he insulted her. He was like, what is this, your second time around? Like, how do you even know what love is? Like, I literally could not believe that. And Tino, I am so sick of him being like, they're going to love Rachel. No. They're going to love her. Why do you
clearly
think that?
you have no backbone? Like, stand up to your. I would literally, if she was saying that to me outside of that hometown on the bench, being like, your family hates me.
Absolutely.
After the first time meeting it should be a fun meeting for the first time. I would have gotten my ass right on up, walked back in there, and been like, apologize to her now.
Yes.
Like, grow the fuck up. It's like. Because also, if that's going to be your wife, like, I better take high priority. Like, I'm your number one. So if they're making me feel like shit, pick a side.
Yeah, pick a side. Also, I would really quickly like to touch on this because we didn't get to talk about this a while ago. But Tino with the rescue I love yous. When Rachel was at her hometown and it's like she's literally on the bench saying, your family hates me. He's like, I'm falling in love with you. I'm falling in love with you. Okay, then they have their one-on-one. And she's saying, hey, don't know if you realize I was off today. I'm really upset about your family.
He never noticed.
No. Never noticed. One.
He was like, totally.
I
was like, you're literally, they're like, oh my God, newsflash.
Like, oh my God, gotta pretend I realize that. And then it's like, she's saying like, how I feel like your family doesn't like me. And he's like, it's like vinegar coming out, but I love you too. You know, I love you. And she's like, oh my God, all is forgiven.
And because she's like filtering what she's saying.
Absolutely.
You know?
And we know multiple occasions that have happened in our real lives where it's like,
way back when.
Many moons ago.
But like little boys ago.
But you know, where it's like, right about when we're about to break up with them, it's like, but wait, I love you. And it's
my God, I have never sent you flowers that ever acted like I gave a fuck about you, but the second you have the right to dump my ass, it's, let me send you flowers, and let me actually come over and tell you
Romeo and Juliet.
I'm gonna be a whole new person after this. Like,
that's what
you had your chance. Don't wait until that moment.
That's why I felt like, that's exactly what I go, the rescue, I love you. It's like, your parents don't like me. I'm falling in love with you. Hey, I still am having a hard time about the hometowns. Really? Because I love you. Like,
that's not gonna
the second time too.
And maybe that's also showing with his family growing up of like that you can't have a conflict and resolve it.
Yeah.
People that can either have a conflict but they don't know how to resolve it, or people that don't even know how to go about the conflict to resolve it. Like, there's always the mix and match where I'm like, you can have conflict, but you need to also know resolution.
Which, another little tip for anybody that has kids or whatever, Dax Shepard and Kristen Bell, they always talked about when they went on Ellen, like their therapist was saying, like, and this happens I'm sure with everybody, where it's like when we grow up we always see our parents fight. And then what Kristen Bell was saying, she's like, me and Dax will get in an argument. She's like, and then we go in our room and we make up. But she's like, the kids never see that. They never see the making up. So she's like, we will pretend. We'll put on a full production.
To pretend to show the resolution piece.
To teach kids how to resolve issues.
Totally. Like, it's okay if you're, like, bickering or whatever and having a fight. But, like,
everybody fights.
But it's, like, the showing that it's okay to, stand up for yourself and to have that conflict. But also, like, how to go about it in a productive way so you have that resolution.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
hello. Like, Tino is lacking some very much, like, I don't even know if they're...
Face it.
They're not even, like, social things that he's lacking. Like, it's more, like, emotional, where I'm like, oh, like, I just feel like you're... Like, Tino's dad clearly did not give him the tools to handle something like this. And it's like, this is a really serious situation that your son is going through, where he's potentially meeting his wife. And you don't even, it's so surface level. You're like, I don't even want to ask you one question about the girl that's in the other room. Let's talk about sports.
Totally. And, like, even when I think of, like, Avon and Zach talking to her when they're, like, you know, like, having a confrontation or anything, it's like, they're immediately, like, their response is, like, I feel, like, they want to make her feel better, where they're like, I hate that I'm the one making you cry, and, like, are you okay before I leave? Like, they're trying to make it better, when I feel like with him, you know, it's like, as soon as she has a problem, it's, but I love you, let's forget about that. It's like, no, she wants to work through this.
Yes.
Like, you know, and they're so in tune with her, of, like, her emotions of being like, I don't want you to feel that way. Even if I don't know exactly how to go about it, I'm acknowledging it. He's not really doing the acknowledging. We just wants to skip past any of the
and it's like, this isn't something that's, like, small. It's like your parents, like, literally hate my guts.
Yeah.
Like, and she feels it on every level.
No.
So,
and what was it? Tino's dad.
Remember last week when we talked about Tino's dad, like, popping off on Facebook? He's not done. He ain't done yet, and I bet he's continuing with the preview we saw of Tino sobbing, because one of the other Facebook posts he said was like, I'm disowning my son if he cries on TV. That was the other post he made, and so he's like, Tino better not cry on TV.
I gotta check all the boxes and do this perfectly. Like, he's got a lot of pressure coming from there. Like, this is one of his dad's posts on Facebook. Bachelor Nation will be sorry when they won't have me to kick around. And so will Sam Rubin. Big Tony, you'll have to wait your turn, ! Smiley face. Watch The Bachelorette tonight at 8 for the yawn most shocking finale ever. Just part 1. So glad it's almost over.
Oh,
It's comic. I mean, honestly, you're ridiculous. That's weird. You are so bitter and being a weirdo.
like, what?
Once again, I'm sorry that you're offended by everybody's
Your son's
reaction.
choices.
And that we're all mad at you, dude, because you were a dick to a poor young lady that you met for the first time that never did you wrong. Or your son.
Yeah. And frankly, I'm upset for Tino as well based on your relationship.
No, honestly, I think we owe him a little grace based off who the hell was raising him. Not to be rude, but like.
I'm just like, clearly like, and also it's like, if you're brought up in an environment where it's like, you're not allowed to feel your emotions, where it's like, that really like stunts you.
Absolutely.
Where it's like,
yes.
Clearly his dad has never once been like, let's actually hear how you're feeling.
It's okay for men to cry.
Yes.
Like, it's okay.
If my son cries on TV, I'm disowning him. So
Oh my God.
I can only imagine what he has to say when he sees Tino sobbing in the next
He would
week.
I bet he's disgusted that Rachel's a pilot.
Literally.
You know, that she's able to be like a boss woman. You know,
Right.
he's probably like, he's the guy that would like mansplain how to like do airport security to us.
Oh, that's touching a nerve.
No, I know it is. It touches me and her too, and I didn't even get the mansplaining.
Oh
You
my
did.
God, I had this guy one time in Vegas, like this dude that was like an executive. He thought it was so cool. He's wearing
We're
like a
also
suit.
a frequent flyer, so F off.
It's like, I'm A-list, so suck it. And he literally is telling me and treating me like I'm a moron on how to do security. And it's not like there's a
Helpful.
ton of people
Yeah.
around either where it's like,
oh, make sure you take that off. Or
yeah,
like, you know,
where
whatever.
it's like they're helping us along. It's like, we're just easy going through the airport. I don't need you turning back.
I'm not a toddler.
You need to take your shoes off. I know.
I literally know, dude. Thank you. Do you want a gold star?
Yeah. If I had a question about the airport security, I'm asking TSA, not you, sir.
But I'll let you know if I'm having a prob.
Oh my God.
Anyways, next.
So next we'll go to Gabby.
Yep.
Gabby, obviously we know from the Fantasy Suite episode, Jason and Johnny are gone. Eric is the only one left. Mm-hmm. Not much to say
Yeah.
here, just because it's like Eric met her family.
Yeah, it was all great. Like, her grandpa is the cutest man. Like, their relationship is so sweet. Like, and you can tell.
Say, like, there's something about Eric that just rubs me the
I
wrong
know.
way.
Me too.
What is it?
I don't know, but since the beginning, I'm like.
Since the beginning.
Yeah.
It's the way he says things. Like, even when I even wrote it down where he was like Gabby, like, from the beginning, like, she was so funny, like, she was always joking around, like, poking fun at my insecurities, and I'm like, what? But he didn't say it in, like, a funny ha-ha way. It was, like, where I go, oh, was Gabby, like, making fun of something that she didn't realize was an insecurity? I go,
where it's like, wait, that's news to me.
I know, like,
Yeah.
making fun of my insecurities. I go, wait, what?
Yeah. And then, but I'm curious to see what goes down, because at the end of it, you know, he's kind of, they're having the conversation once again of like, are we going to end in an engagement or
Right.
not? She's definitely battling her own like self-doubt and like intrusive thoughts.
Totally.
Yeah, totally.
Well, and it's
working
like-
through her trauma.
She's working through her trauma, and especially, like, I just watched Red Table Talk with Jeanette McCurdy about, you know, her mom and the book that came out, like, I'm Glad My Mom Died, which, go watch that podcast if you want to learn about that. It's literally insane. But they have, like, a therapist or, like, a psychologist come on and talk about, like, people that were wronged by their mothers and, like, what type of toll that takes. And, like, that's, like, with Gabby, and she was like, why people that don't have mothers that like love them or something, like, you know, or that don't give them what they need when they're children, don't love them when they're children. She's like, from the moment you come out of the womb, she's like, that is the person that is supposed to love you. And she's like, the number one person that's supposed to love you betrayed you. Your very first relationship of life betrayed you. And then she's like, that's why people go on to have severe, I mean, mommy issues, daddy issues. But she was saying, like, the mom, especially, the very first person.
She gave birth to you.
She betrayed you from the very get-go. So now you're suffering. And that's why Gabby even says the whole time, it's like, she feels unlovable.
Totally.
And it's like, I mean, for me, I'm like, Gabby, I freaking love you. Like, everybody loves you. Your family loves you. Your dad, your like,
for sure.
But it's like, I can't even begin to imagine that feeling.
Totally. Next week is the finale, so we'll see. I'm like, based off Rachel's reaction, she is not pleased. I don't even know if she'll show up. All I care about is Bachelor in Paradise, so let's move on with it.
On delay. All right, let's get into gossip of the week. Venice Film Festival. Really what we're here to discuss is the shortened down version of the Olivia Wilde, Florence Pugh, Harry Styles drama.
I mean, I just need an answer at this point of like what went down. I want the receipts. I want the whole 9 yards because we're all speculating.
Right.
I'm already on Miss Flo's side.
Of course. What I feel like happened, this is my idea, which what you just said, we're speculating, but originally Shia LaBeouf and Florence Pugh were hired on to be the main leads of Don't Worry Darling, Olivia Wilde's movie. Okay? We're following.
Yes.
Then, Florence Pugh, her best friend died. She had to go back to the UK. There were all these scheduling conflicts with Florence in the beginning. Then, Shia was on set, and he started, like, figuring out there's some plot holes. And he started figuring out there's some stuff that's not really making sense in the movie, I think. Because he's texting her, and we see the receipts, where he's saying, I think we've got bigger problems on our hands. And if you see the movie reviews from the Don't Worry Darling, they aren't good. They're bad. Like, this movie was so hyped up to be this amazing movie, and every review I've seen has not been good. And I just saw another one from my most trusted guy, and he's like, it was trying to go somewhere, and there's so many times where you think it's going somewhere, and it's just, like, not it. So, what I think happens is Shia backs out of the movie, because Florence still hasn't even been to set. And he's there, and he's seeing, there's lots of stuff that's not good. He backs out. Olivia's upset, and she's all butthurt. And so in an interview, she says something about, like, Florence wasn't comfortable with Shia because of, like, sexual assault and all this stuff.
Yeah, something was weird there, too.
Like, saying that she, like, alluded to the fact...
was uncomfortable with Shia being around her.
That Florence was uncomfortable with Shia, when that's not the case. If you can see their texts, they're literally completely fine.
Yeah.
Like, and what Shia said was he backed out because of scheduling conflicts with Florence, which is true. Because based off the text, you can see she's like, I'm so sorry I wasn't there. I'm sorry I'm not there. So then... Shia gets pissed, and he leaks a video of Olivia Wilde saying, like, Miss Flo needs to get, like, a wake-up call. Like, I want to salvage this relationship. I still want you to be in the movie. Like, essentially blaming Florence for firing or, like, letting him go or whatever, because, like, he left.
There's so many unanswered things. Either Shia was fired, he wasn't fired. But then it's like, does that even matter at this point? Because then it's about the way she's referencing Florence, saying Miss Flo will get an attitude check or whatever, you know, of like...
And I don't think he was fired. I think he left. I think she said that comment, didn't think he was going to see it, and then it was going to be blowed up as much as it was. He was salty with her. He's like, let me release the receipts. Here's the video of you begging me to come back to the film. Here's also me and Florence text where we're literally
getting
fine.
along, into where he's saying, like, I heard there's like a problem with you're uncomfortable with me, and she's like, I'm sad to hear that. That's not true at all.
Exactly.
Like, I've just been busy. Like, that's not the problem. So I'm thinking, I'm sorry, but Olivia Wilde's walking around acting like she's like the most like... I just don't believe... I don't think she's authentic. I'm not buying it for a minute, where I'm like, all of this could have totally been nipped in the butt if, like, the second there was a back and forth of, like, what the truth... I don't even know what story we're even talking about.
Right.
Of what's not even true. Like, what's true and what's not, and what even is there to be true or not? I am so confused, and I'm like, Olivia, you need to be straight up. You are in charge of this entire production.
Right.
This is your shit. Grow up and get a grip.
Yeah.
It's like, do you think people are going to want to work for you moving forward and do movies for you when on your first or second movie that you're doing, you're already fucking and dating one of the stars of it, Harry Styles, and it's like, which everybody, you know, people do that in the film or whatever, you know, producers, directors with the cast, but it's also like, this is your second movie or whatever, your first or second movie, and you're already doing that, and then on top of it, all of this drama.
Yeah, and like also
not a good look.
It was like Olivia spoke in an interview about like the sex in the movie and saying like how powerful like the sex is and like really making the film about the sex.
Yeah.
And then Florence comes out and is like, I'm really sad to see my entire performance is being boiled down to one sex scene with Harry Styles, when that is not why I did this at all.
And then it's the fact, I mean, that's what just shows though moving forward of, like I said, of like for her future films, that nobody's gonna want to work, because you look at the film festival they just went to, and Florence refuses to do any press for this movie, all she's there for is the red carpet, and she's not going to be enabling this movie that she's a huge star in. She's the lead. And it's like she doesn't want anything to do with it.
It's so embarrassing.
That screams volumes.
even in like the press conference, it's like so embarrassing. Like the entire cast is sitting there but the lead. And it's like obviously they had a great excuse because the excuse was that she was filming Dune in a different country, so she couldn't be there. But really because she showed up for the red carpet, and also we know the shade is there because Florence, like her stylist, posted on her Instagram, the caption was Miss Flo, and then her entire makeup and hair team has black t-shirts that say Miss Flo right here.
Like
I go, the digs are out the charts.
And it's like she doesn't have any problems necessarily. That we've heard of like resentment towards anybody else that was a part of the scene. It's like the company culture matters, and it usually comes all the way back down to the boss.
Yeah,
who's in charge of this culture. And it's like, that screams volumes, where I'm like, she doesn't even want to be a part of it. And then what did she do when they showed...
Oh, and then there's the whole thing with the ovation.
Oh,
so when people go to the Venice Film Festival, one of the things that's like crucial that shows how great the films are is the ovation time. So it matters how long the standing ovation was. Like when Elvis came out, the standing ovation was 12 minutes. And everyone's like, that's insane. That's supposed to be so good. So when it came to the ovation for Don't Worry Darling, which is their movie, Florence stayed for about a whole 4 minutes and then left. Like, the lead has to stay during the standing ovation, and like, can you only imagine how awkward that is? Think about how long 12 minutes of clapping is.
Think about how long 30 seconds is, and like when you're sitting there and it's like a moment.
And it's
like,
for you. So it's like,
yeah.
so it's like, but that's what the lead is supposed to do, is you're supposed to sit there for the director and like literally like get all that ovation time so that when they mark it in Vanity Fair, they can say, hey, 12-minute standing ovation, 15-minute standing ovation.
Yeah.
Florence left after 4 minutes. So one of the lowest at this, like right now, Marilyn, which is that new movie coming out about Marilyn Monroe with Ana de Armas.
Yes.
So far, what I've heard, I think that's the highest. She got 14. The Whale with Brendan Fraser got 12 minutes.
4 minutes
You're seeing a pattern 12, 14, 13, and then we got a solid 4 for Don't Worry Darling.
I just need to know what shit Olivia Wilde was either pulling or enabling on or twisting around.
I think she was just twisting around. I think
so too.
I think her ego was hurt when Shia, I bet he even probably voiced, like, this script is ass.
Yeah.
There are plot holes left and right. I'm leaving the film, and she was butthurt, so she's like, no, Florence didn't work with you because you assault women. Oh, the drama, the tea.
I know.
And it's like, and it was just the video of Olivia. That's the worst part of it all.
Yeah, it is.
That's the worst part.
That's the moment, too, that I was watching it where I go, I honestly, moving forward, I don't believe a word you're saying. I feel like you're so ingenuine, and I'm just like, you are manipulating. And
I haven't seen Don't Worry Darling yet. I am dying to see it at this point, just for the drama.
Yes.
And for the plot holes.
I know.
I want to see the garbage.
Yes,
I want
me
to
too.
see what Shia was talking about, and yeah, I'm interested.
Me too.
Okay, next up, Kim and Ray J. Oof.
Oh, and immediately I'm in defense mode. Which is hard not to be because we are always Kardashian stans, but we're also opening the doors for conversation here of it is messed up if, the issues fall on the side of the Kardashians, where I'm like,
yes, and I don't know, because first off, as we know, everyone comes for the Kardashians like it's their job.
Right.
They want the money, they want the fame, they want it all.
Totally.
Ray J is the one that is the original sex tape, in case anyone isn't aware.
And he recently decided to pop off. It kind of all stemmed from, obviously, that he references the Hulu show that just came out where they kind of mentioned the sex tape or whatever, the new sex tape, or the one that had never been released. And then
there was
also
extra footage.
And then Kylie and Kris Jenner were just on James Corden or whatever, Corden?
Yeah.
The Late Late Show or whatever, and they did that fake lie detector test.
Right.
Because they're like, that's the guy that literally does them all, and it's all fake. Like,
yeah.
Or whatever. He does, like, how to beat the lie detector or random shit. Like, but either way, and so they once again mentioned the sex tape being released or whatever, and...
Like, did you sell the rights to the sex tape?
Right. Did you have anything to do with that getting exploited or whatever?
Right.
Or was it, like, all Ray J's fault, basically, or whoever, And that their hands had nothing to do with it. Ray J decides to pop off, where he's kind of... The issue here of, like, why it's kind of hard to even listen to his side of things is that he's popping off like Kanye does.
Yes.
Where I'm like, I'd rather you give me the facts instead of the random jargon on your Instagram captions in all caps screaming at us like random shit that we don't even know what you're talking about.
Absolutely. It's like the same thing that Britney Spears does. Where it's just like the long monologues, no periods, no commas,
just
half
like,
the shit spelled wrong, which doesn't really matter. But it's like when I'm trying to follow, I'm like, what is even happening?
It blatantly is screaming that you are in the heat of your emotions and rambling.
Right.
Where I'm like, instead of thinking it through and being like, here's what I want to get out of this, and what point are you trying to prove? And how are you going to show me the proof for that?
Right. And also, he keeps saying, like, I've got kids. Like, I don't want this out. Well, it's like, Kim also has kids. That's the whole point, is, like, everyone's got kids now. I understand. Mm-hmm. And, like, there are some inconsistencies. I will give it to him. Like, where, you know, like, Kanye said in the season that we just watched, you know, like, Kanye goes and gets the, you know, desktop computer, like the hard drive from Ray J's manager that the sex tape lived on, and delivers it to Kim on
saying,
SNL.
Like, the second sex tape from then, like, will not be released. Like, saved the day.
Yeah, but I'm like...
And then Ray J saying, like, that literally never happened.
Like,
and
no one ever came.
And then what else was he... What's his, like, main thing he's accusing is that, like, they had everything to do with the exploitation of this, like,
is that they like, and I think what he's trying to say is, like, we were all in on it. Even me.
Yeah.
Ray J was trying to say, like, I was in on it too. But what he's saying, he's like, I've got your signature, I've got your handwriting all over the contract. Well, at least what I saw, and, like, it's TikTok, so it can be
right,
wrong.
and maybe more information will come out.
Absolutely. But the guy that, and, like, Ray J's showing this contract, like, on live. And this guy that's a lawyer, screenshot all the pages that Ray J's showing. And if you zoom in, right at the top of the page, it says video licensing agreement. That is not a license. Like, that does not mean you can sell and exploit that. That means basically I have the rights to this. Right. Like, at least what the lawyer was saying is that this isn't like, this is a contract so you could go off and make millions off of this and sell this.
This isn't our contract agreeing we are going to make money off of this together, and this is how we're going to do it, by showing it to everybody and pretending it's all your fault. Like, that is not what the contract is. No. Of, like, what the behind the scenes. It's just straight up, somebody has to own the video. Right. Like, and to be in charge of where, like, just be in charge of it.
And it's like, I think Kim, and what I would be assuming is Kim and her team is just trying to get control of the situation. Absolutely. Because this was all taken on Ray J's camera, Ray J's stuff, Ray J's hard drive. It's like, if I was Kim...
He could for the rest of your life be exploiting you with that.
Like, absolutely.
You know, so they wanted to... I can understand of, like, wanting to have some sort of arms around something like this when you're Kim K.
Absolutely. And the lawyer's saying, he's like, now this is just a fraction of, like, the pages. So he's like, obviously there's more. Right. And, like, but it is just interesting to me that, like, the points he chose to show are the video licensing agreement part. And, like, where they're zooming in with Kim's handwriting, it's like, what he's saying was, like, Kim wanted him to sign this super fast. And so she went in and made the addendum and wrote in her own personal handwriting, like, these are the things we're getting, you know, licensing agreements to. But also when Ray J's popping off on his live and saying, this is the contract, look at her signature, look at her handwriting. It's like, yeah, everyone's up in arms, like, oh my God, she was a part of this. Right. There's her handwriting right there.
Well, it's her sex tape, so hopefully.
But it's like, if you didn't see the video I saw with the lawyer saying, hey, this is just a video licensing agreement, this is nothing. Then it's like, then you're thinking, like, wow, yeah, Kim had everything to do with this.
And if Kim has been downplaying this whole thing and it's actually has been her whole idea from the start or whatever, I personally, at this whole entire thing, I don't care. I'm like, I don't care whose fault it was or who promoted the video or who sent it around. Like, it's done and over with. I know we're all still talking about it, and that is on the Kardashians.
I was gonna say, I will say,
why
it's
are they
really,
still bringing
really
it up?
shitty if this is true, and it's like you're going on the show.
You do have it coming. Like, if you're still years later in your brand new show, on the live show, like, you're still bringing this up, I can understand how Ray J's like, okay, at this point, I'm gonna say something.
Right, and I guess it doesn't make sense, too, because if you watch the season, how this all gets unfolded is because Saint, Kim's son, is playing on Roblox, and there's, like, an ad to, like, see new footage of Kim's sex tape with Ray J. It's like, and it's a picture of Kim's crying face. Like, that's the only reason this ever got to her attention.
Totally.
So, I don't know.
Right, apparently. Yeah. From what we saw on the show, it could be also...
all manipulated.
Who knows? I'm still standing on the side with their Kardashians at the moment, because I'm also like, get that bag, sister. You made that sex tape, get that bag. I don't give a shit.
Well, also, I'm like, if you have more to share, Ray J, I'd like to... Because he was like, I've got emails. It's like, then let's see them.
Let's see them.
It's like, don't be, and that's the other thing. It's like, how many shows do the Kardashians do like this? How many times is the sex tape been brought up?
I mean,
and it's like, only now are you up in arms, freaking out, where it's like, I get it too, but I'm like, I don't know.
Nobody's, even when we're talking about the sex tape, I don't know who you are, Ray J.
Right.
I don't really, even when we're talking about the sex, I don't think about you. Like, I'm just thinking about Kim. Like, but maybe that's my own issue. Like, but I'm like, really, I don't care, and I don't look at Ray J good or bad. Before this, like, I was like, I'm really indifferent about you. I don't really.
Well, and that was the thing for me is like, I guess I was under the impression that Ray J also didn't release it. I thought neither one of them were.
I thought he did.
You thought he did?
Like, when I'm thinking of it, like, I feel like my initial memory is that it's always been like Ray J released it, and that's how it happened. She was like upset from the very beginning. But I don't know. I
think about like Pamela Anderson and Tommy's. You know, it's like theirs was stolen,
right?
You know, but I also people said over the years like Tommy released it, but then it's like, but it was stolen.
What was it like? I don't know.
Who knows? Honestly, hopefully, Ray J, you enlighten us with some more info, and I'm more than happy to change my stance.
Right. And I'm like, honestly, I think everybody in this entire thing just needs to drop it. I'm also scared that they're going to be in the wrong.
That's true.
Or like, can we move past this topic? Thank you. Okay. What do we got? And then the Emmys. Jimmy Kimmel, what you doing?
Oh my.
It's one of those moments that I'm like, it's not even a joke that you just took too far and you're being awkward. Like, it's genuinely not about you.
No. Basically what happened with Quinta Brunson is she gets up to accept her Emmy and Jimmy Kimmel is there and he's trying to make this joke about the skinny margaritas and then he doesn't get up.
Well, because he had just lost for like the 13th time in a row, like the best late night show or whatever, television talk show or whatever. And so he was like laying down, like he had just lost for the 13th time, like that was the whole bit. And then he continued to lay down while he was drunk. But yeah, that's a part of it. But it was because of the third.
Okay.
He had lost 13 times in a row and was like playing dead or, you know, like laying on the ground, like, and didn't move the whole time. She's like trying to get him up. It's like her speech. She's not mad, apparently. You know, she's like, I'm going to rip him a new one when I'm on the show later. But, like, you know, but honestly, like, she's handling it really well. I would have been like, you stripped that from me. Like, now all we're talking about is him laying on the floor next to me. Right. We're still talking about her, and like, it's huge. But it's also, like, have some respect, Jimmy. It's just immature. Like, you're a grown-ass man. You've been up here. At least you've had the chance to have 13 nominations, you know, at least.
Right.
So, at least you got to lose 13 times.
Yeah.
She finally won.
Yeah.
And it's like...
And it's like,
get off the stage.
Do I think his intentions were bad? No. I don't think he was trying to cause a scene and like
it wasn't giving me Kanye Taylor Swift where he came up, stole the mic, and said somebody else deserved it.
No, it's just like not reading the room, and it's like it's for as big of a moment as it was. It's like, and also I'm just like. Not to play this card, but it's like, would you have done that to like Leonardo DiCaprio? You know, where it's like, would you have done that to any? Like, why? Like, why are you doing that?
Because if Leo said get off the stage to him, like when she's trying to get him up or whatever, it's like he would have gotten off the stage. He wouldn't even done it in the first place.
Yeah, and like especially like this show, Abbott Elementary, this woman, the people that are in the show, I can't remember her name. I think it's like Cheryl or something, but it's a black cast. They got so many nominations. Like this is a big moment for them. And I saw an interview clip of that Cheryl girl that's also on the show. This is her first nomination, and she was saying that 30 years ago, she was starring in a movie with Robert De Niro, and she was just coming up, and she was like, and the cuttings, like they filming stopped. And he turned to her and he's like, you're amazing. He's like, you are one good DGA, like damn good actress. And he's like, the only problem, he's like, is they're not looking for black girls. He's like, but you wave your red flag. And he's like, you keep going and make them see you. He's like, make them see you. And she stands there and she's like, and I am seen, baby. I got my nomination and I'm here. And she's like, 30 years later.
That gave me chills.
No, straight up. And she won too. She straight up won. She goes, this right here is the epitome of like hard work and your dream.
Not
you can
taking
do it.
no for an answer.
Straight
up. That's
up.
where I'm like, for her, I wish it's one of those moments that I bet she's even looking back on. The main girl, Quinta. Like I bet she's looking back on. It's one of those like that you're like, I wish I should have said this or done this. Like where I'd have been like, I'm not saying my thanks until he gets off the stage.
Well, and also
we're pausing
like,
production. Like sorry, but get him off the stage.
Also, like I can see her being like, it's not that big of a deal. But then when everybody else is like, you should be furious, you know, it's like, she's like, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm letting it go. I'll like you know,
everybody else got to stand up there by themselves and say their thank yous or
Yeah.
whatever, like their winning speech. It's like she deserved the same.
absolutely. And it's like I feel like people just like forget
Yeah.
how big of moments these are for
It's
people.
just unfortunate
like
'cause
with
you
Will
can't take it
Smith
back.
too.
I
you know, where it's
know.
like
You
you're
affected
ruining the moment.
Chris Rock's family.
Yes.
They're watching their son up there getting to like host it or whatever. And it's like you ruin that for so many other people that it's like, it's just really unfortunate because she can't ever get that like moment back. That's why it's like, at least we're all just still trying to focus on like her, and that's huge for her. But
Absolutely.
It's like, God damn it, Jimmy.
I know, like bro,
like
read
you
the room.
you didn't have to do that.
No, like you're already the star of the show. You already have your moments. Let her have hers.
For real. Like,
And then the other thing we want to talk about, obviously, Zendaya. My God, I didn't even think she could top her looks from the Emmys, from the Golden Globes, you name it. My favorite look to date, mic drop, I will say it right here and now.
I mean, she's perfect.
Not
Inside and out.
the gown, the diamonds.
Oh.
The
I
hair.
have goosebumps, full goosebumps.
It was the hair
I
and the
know.
headband. Old Hollywood out my ass.
I mean, she looked elegant, classy.
her speech, amazing.
I know.
Youngest person to ever win an Emmy, let alone win them twice, let alone a black woman, let alone winning back to back. I mean, she's making history out here. Love her
And
to
if
death.
there's one girly I want making that history, it's her. I'm like, yeah.
It's like literally everyone that's in Hollywood should feel blessed that Zendaya only chose acting. She
Yeah.
could have been a model and she would be out modeling Gigi and Bella
Yes.
and Kendall.
Oh.
She could have been a musician. She has the voice of an angel. I mean, like literally she does it all.
Yeah, she does do it all. And speaking of Gigi, is spotted potentially with Leo.
Don't even believe it. I go,
I know.
literally, it looks like they're having a conversation. It's like, Gigi, honey.
They're not dating yet, but they're testing the waters. No,
They're
they
not
probably
even
were at a
touching.
party.
And also, you know, like, it's the classic of, like, when it's loud as hell in a party and you're
Yeah.
this close to someone trying to hear what they're saying. And then it's like someone snaps a pic and it's like, they're this close. It's like, well, I
Even
can't
if they're
hear
hooking
you.
up, like, it's not.
It's not the end of the world.
Leo's never settling down fully.
No, and
As he shouldn't. He's gorgeous. He's Leo.
She's 27 anyways. His limit's 25, so
He's probably like asking her for
we're
advice.
done next year with Leo. We're done.
We're done now.
Washed
we just
up.
turned 25.
Oh yeah,
So we're technically, he would have just dumped us.
washed up.
Old hags.
Old hags.
All right, snitches, that is a wrap on this week's episode. Make sure to subscribe and leave a review.
And we will see you snitches next week for another gossip update and the finale of The Bachelorette. How me looking? How me looking?
How me looky?
Eczema.
See that?
With scratchy old hags with scratchy arms. Scratchy.
Sketchy. All right, mother effers. I was gonna swear, and then I was like, nope.
Hey.